everyone, my name is Hermedilla Rica from BS Criminology 1-9 that present about what is primary and secondary deviance. But before we proceed to our topic, let's know first what is deviance. What is deviance? It is defined as the behavior that violates significant norms and is disapproved by majority of people. That according to sociologists, deviance is relative, meaning it is based on the social definition of some group. Behavior can be considered deviant only within the context of the norms and values of particular culture. Thus, one act may be unacceptable to one group, but the same act has a considerable degree of acceptance in another group. It says that deviance is a rule or norm that a person violating in society. The majority of people do not approve it, since it is either wrongdoing or affects our society. Because doing something wrong, a person defined as a bad person. Also, we have two different deviance, and there are individual deviance and group deviance. So first is individual deviance. Individual deviance refers to a violation against a group norm or subculture. Example, a person who belongs to religious or conservation family or group who carries an illicit relation with another individual. Such as relationship is considered taboo. Next is group deviance. Group deviance refers to the act of members of a group to conform to the group norms but which disagree with the norms of the larger society. Example of group deviance: street gangs or cults that engage in human sacrifice. Clear about individual and group deviance? Let's proceed to 3 reasons for deviance, and there are biologists, sociologists, and psychologists. First is biologists. Biologists say that deviance is caused by factors coming from within the individual. They say that deviant behavior is a result of aberrant genetic traits, as in the case of homosexual, criminals, and mentally individual. Next is sociologists. Sociologists say that factors outside the individual cause deviance. They presume that an individual's environment may cause him to show deviant characteristics. And last is psychologists. Psychologists explain that the deviant behavior of people is caused by abnormalities in their personalities, or what we call personality disorder. Also, we have a theories of deviance. First is biological theories, focus on the genetic endowment of human beings or their anatomical or psychological composition. A. Cesar Lombroso, who became interested in the scientific study of crime, believed that physical characteristics of a criminal should be truly analyzed. He was convinced that the major determinants of crimes committed. Next is Ernest Hutton, an American anthropologist, also made research on the biological factors of deviance in 1930. He claimed that criminals are originally inferior to normal people. William Sheldon also attempted to link body type of behavior by classifying people in the 3 categories: the endomorphs, mesomorphs, and ectomorphs. First is endomorphs, refers to people who are soft, round, and usually fat. Mesomorphs are people who are muscular, stocky, and athletic. Last is ectomorphs, are people who are skinny and fragile. Next is psychologist theories, focus on personality, motives, aggression, frustration, or ego strength. Last is sociologist. Sociologist theories of deviance focus on the sociocultural, organizational, environmental, and group factors. Is that clear about what is deviance? So let's proceed to the two types of deviance that we call primary and secondary deviance. What is primary deviance? Primary deviance refers to a person's behavior which violates or does not conform to the prescribed norm of conduct but is tolerated or concealed by others. Primary deviance, which is deviant behavior that does not have long-term consequences and does not result in the person committing the act being labeled as a deviant. I'll give some example of primary deviance. First is vandalism, littering, loitering in restricted areas, cheating during examination. My listener, I'm sure one of you is affected. So if you are affected, you are one of the example that under of primary deviance. Let's give an example of primary deviance in situation. Arabella shoplifted in the mall last night. Shoplifting is under of primary deviance because it does not have a long-term consequences. Another example, Chia smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol with their friends. It is under primary deviance because he against the social norms. Clear? Okay, let's proceed to secondary deviance. What is secondary deviance? Refers to the behavior of a lifetime conformist, the behavior of a person who killed in defense of the behavior of a branded criminal. Such behavior stigmatizes a person from the rest of the society. It says that secondary deviance, they were found guilty of practicing habitual debauchery and initiating others to commit deviance. Example of secondary deviance, behavior of the ex-convicts, prostitutes who are isolated from ordinary people and who find difficulty in returning to society. In the example of secondary deviance, it said that person who commit this crime has difficulty in returning to society. So these are the crimes that are serious and guilty, like murder, rape, drugs, are the example of crime. Always remember or take note that the two types of deviance are primary and secondary deviance, and differs in how a crime is committed. Another take note, primary deviance is violation of a norm, while the secondary deviance is violation of a law. Before I end the discussion, I give quotation. The past cannot be changed, forgotten, edited, or erased. It can only be accepted. I hope you have learned something from me about my discussion about primary and secondary deviance. If you have a question, just PM me or click my Facebook link in the comment section, and I will try my best to answer your question. Again, my name is Hermedilla Rica from BS Criminology 1-9. Thank you for listening.